Sometimes you see a garden or a landscape and you think, that must have been done by a professional. Today, I will reveal to you one of the important ways to make your garden and lawn look like $1,000, and that's proper edging. I will also share the most common mistakes that people make when creating an edge around their lawn or planting areas that can end up looking like a disaster. But first, let's dive into what makes a professional looking edge. A professional edge appears that way if the shape is very clean and neat and reflects the shape you're after, and if the grade is the proper grade in relation to what you're edging. I'm John Valentino, president of John and Bob's Corporation, and this is Chip Valentino, vice president in charge of professional edges. You ready, Chip? He seemed pretty comfortable. The least expensive way to do edging is just with a shovel cut. Nothing wrong with it, but it does have some problems in that if it's shovel cut for a lawn edge, over time that shape changes depending on who does your maintenance and how they edge the lawn. Some people like a separation from the lawn and the shrubs in order to keep certain types of lawn from going into the shrub area, and whereas that's minimally effective if you don't have any kind of formal edge. That shovel cut edge is appropriate where you don't want to spend money on edging, but if you want a very professional look and a longer lasting edge, then stay tuned. We'll get to that. One of my least favorite types of edging is widely used, and they're plastic. Their cost is really why they're used a lot. The problem with them is with heat and cold, they tend to bend and rise and settle kind of uncontrollably no matter how hard you try to stake them into place, and they just don't look good over time. We don't use that type of edging because two of the things that make edging look professional is this clean, precise shape and the ability to have the grade exactly where you want it. Okay, we're here. This is an exciting moment. I get to tell you about my two favorite kinds of edging, the kind we use on almost every project we do. One of them is easy to do for homeowners, and one of them is more of a contractor job. And we use both of them kind of interchangeably. This is one of the most useful and professional looking edges that's really easy to install. Permaloc edging, this is just a piece of it. It comes in 16-foot lengths with the stakes. It bends easily. The piece this small doesn't bend, but it's easy to bend into freeform curvilinear shapes, or you can keep it straight. They call it anodized aluminum. I think it's actually just painted. Here we have an example of the Permaloc edging used to define a pathway. We've got base rock and decomposed granite under this Yuma rock, and then we use the Permaloc edging to define it and to keep the California gold separated from the Yuma rock. So this is the Permaloc edging as a lawn edge, where we're just barely above the height of the lawn and about 3/4 of an inch above the rock. We're keeping the rock separate from the lawn. With Permaloc edging, you can put it in any time when you do your original installation, or you can come back after your landscape is complete. You know, you might have to do a little mini excavation, but nothing major. So our price for Permaloc edging is right up there around $6 a linear foot. It's not inexpensive, but it's a very good product, works very well, and lasts indefinitely. Edging that we use a lot of on a lot of the projects we do, and so it's more contractor oriented, is just real steel, about a 3/16 thickness. We weld the rebar to the edging in order to shape it. Both of these are similar in cost. I think the steel edge is less expensive than the Permaloc, but then there is more labor in it. So if you're at $6 with this, you're probably buying this for about $3 or $4 a linear foot. Here we've used the steel edging. We've used it to separate this rock area, which is for parking, with a planting area, which has mulch. We're just a little above the rock, and then we're more above the bark. We hope that the rock doesn't get into the bark and the bark doesn't get into the rock. These edgings can be added with time. Depends on how you're using it. Around a lawn, you can definitely always add it. Where you're trying to separate, say, rock or gravel from a planting area, you could add it, but it's going to be a lot more straightforward and cleaner to do it right before the installation of all the surrounding materials. So there are other options for professional edging. Most likely would want to hire a contractor of some type to install them, so it's not a do-it-yourself project. Say with a type of lawn that is invasive, like a Bermuda lawn, they like the idea of trying to make a separation that doesn't allow the Bermuda to grow out into the planting areas. Concrete is used a lot as an edge on lawns, but it's also the most expensive and the most visually evident. A 6-inch mow strip is going to cost $20 to $25 a linear foot. And then all other types of masonry can be used too. You could use brick, and brick's going to be even more expensive than concrete. So after hearing our summary, hopefully you have an idea of what material you want to use, but we don't want you to make some common mistakes. When you use these edging products, you are forever defining the shape of whatever it is you're defining. You need to make sure you get that shape to be exactly what you want. The most common is the use of inexpensive materials that don't hold up well and can't maintain their grade, and so they don't hold their shape well. The shapes and everything will be determined by your landscape design. We like very simple shapes, direct shapes, sometimes straight lines, sometimes curvilinear lines, but always the simplest shape to accomplish our goals. The other common mistake is to finish them at the wrong grade. You have to be pretty precise about the top of the grade of the edging because it has to be high enough that it does its job and keeps the materials separate, and yet low enough that it's not a hazard or a visual hazard. So this is the grade, the top of the grade of the mulch. This is the grade of the steel edging, and this is the grade of this rock. So the height of edging is just a little above whatever you're controlling. In the case of lawn, maybe like 1/4 of an inch above the lawn. If it's gravel, maybe more like 1/2 an inch above the gravel. If you found this video helpful, like it, indicate in the comments below if you'd like us to make a video about the installation of edging. So now that you know how to create professional looking edges, what if you are dealing with poor soil also? Check out this video where we inform you how to fix your soil the lazy way.